It's been a minute. And it feels like a Monday and it's Sunday and it's really throwing me off. Hey guys, welcome back to the Pantry Kitchen. I'm Catherine and today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade chicken broth. So it's super simple. I'm going to kind of show you a couple things in this video. So I'm going to show you how I would do like a whole chicken dinner and kind of just some of the sides that I would typically make. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'll just kind of tell you what I would do once my chicken's all cooked and I would serve it for dinner. And then I'll show you how I make my homemade broth or homemade bone broth, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to show you in this video. Then you can take this one and make all my soup videos on the channel. We've got lots so far, and I always use my homemade bone broth to make those soup. So we've got a whole chicken. I've got my roasting dish here that it's going to do all the work. Some onions, celery, and carrots, a little bit of water, and then just some seasoning, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning blend, and some onion and garlic, and that's all you'll need. So I'm just going to get to chopping. Everything's going to be a rough chop. We're going to put it in our roasting pan and then stick it in a 375 degree oven for about like an hour or so, hour and a half, just until the chicken is fully cooked, and then we'll show you the next steps after that. So we are almost ready to go in the oven. I've got just enough water in here to almost touch the chicken. That's basically gonna create a really concentrated juice is what I call it. And then all the juice from the chicken will go into that. That will be the starter for our broth. Regardless if I was making broth or not, this is exactly how I'd set up my pan to do my chicken dinner, just to make any kind of chicken like this. That's exactly what I would do. So I've got 2 small onions. If you had a large one, I would just use 1. Everything is roughly chopped because I don't personally, I use this for flavoring. I'm not going to eat anything afterwards from this. So everything's a rough chop. So celery, like a few stalks, like 2 to 3, depending on how big. 2 to 3 carrots, again, depending on how big. Everything roughly chopped. I've got 3 cloves of garlic. They're roughly large in size. And then, yeah, I just did salt, pepper, a little Italian seasoning, a little onion and garlic powder. Before I go in, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of olive oil drizzled over top. You can use regular olive oil, but I'm all out, so I'm just using this Cindy's Blend one. Again, just gives it a little bit more flavor, crisps up the skin really nice on top. And that's everything we're doing. So it's going to go in the oven for about, like I said, an hour and a half. I always use my thermometer. 165 degrees Fahrenheit is what you want. That's safe internal temperature to eat your chicken. So as long as it's anywhere in the 165, I kind of take it out when it's like 163, because then once it rests, you don't want dried chicken. So 163, let it get to 165, and then you're good to go. So we're going to go in the oven, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So about halfway through the cooking process, I just like to come in here and take the juice. This is called basting. If you have a baster, they make those and it makes it a lot easier. But a spoon works just as good. Look at our beautiful golden chicken. So now we are ready to make our bone broth. We're going to pour in our stock pot and just be very careful because this is very hot. And make sure you get everything out of here. And now because there's going to be some, residual spices and everything, before I add my chicken carcass, I am going to rinse this a few times with some water just to make sure we're getting all the delicious bits into our broth. So, to accompany our chicken, we're going to make a quick little fried potato. Now it's just butter, but you'll see the milk solids did come out because this was already melted and this butter has not been melted. So you want a nice hot skillet, lots of butter. Here I've got some mini potatoes that I had already, so I just went ahead and boiled them until they were knife tender. I left the skins on because I find that it gives good taste when you're doing the small potatoes like this. So we're just going to get a really hot skillet with our melted butter, and then that will give us really crispy potatoes. And this is just a nice side dish to accompany your roasted chicken. And this is something that I would make for dinner. So if I was making the chicken already, I would go ahead and make this and maybe a side salad. And then once we're finished dinner, that's when I would proceed to make my broth when we're cleaning up. Once you start to see your butter bubble like this, you know it's super hot, and you can go ahead and add your potatoes. You want to get them in one thin layer coated with the butter. Then we're going to add our salt and pepper. Because I have not seasoned them thus far, and we want a really nice seasoning on our potatoes. And I'm just going to add a little bit of garlic powder as well. Okay, so now I'm adding my chicken carcass to the pot. If I was serving this for dinner, I would take off more meat. I would take off the legs and everything. But because I'm mainly doing this for the broth, I find that I personally like chicken breasts the best. I like white meat. So I'm leaving it on because I find that the meat from the thighs and the legs give it a lot of flavor, and all the chicken here too. You'll be able to pull more of this off later if you want to. But if you were serving this for dinner, you could take more meat off and then add it to the pot. So all I'm going to do now is completely cover the carcass with more water, probably to about here in the pot, and we want it to be fully submerged in water. We've got our gorgeous fried potatoes here. We're going to serve up with our chicken breast. And I would serve a nice side salad with this as well. But for our lunch, we're just going to do some fried potatoes and chicken breast. Bring this to a boil. And then once it gets to a boil, I'm going to turn it on low and just let it simmer for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then I'm going to completely shut it off and just move it to the back of the oven or the back of the stove. And then just let it sit and kind of do its thing. And you can see how crispy these are getting. You want all the edges to be super crispy. And good fried potatoes take a little bit because you want all the edges to be crispy. But just keep them going on high heat, tossed in that delicious butter. And that will be the most delicious. Our bone broth here has been steeping and chilling. I can push it to the back of the stove after about 30 minutes of it simmering. It's still going to be quite hot when you do this process. Sometimes if I'm doing it at nighttime, then I will just let it sit overnight. If I'm doing it in the morning or I have time to do this and it has time to kind of sit, because I like it to sit for at least like 2 hours, if not overnight, like I said. So if I have time, then I'll do this during the day, and then the broth can go right in the fridge. So the next step is just basically to strain it. So I do this process over the sink because it's just a lot easier in case you spill. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to see how this goes. So all I have here, I like this bowl because it has a lip, so it makes it easier to pour into my jars. You can put it into whatever container you want, but I like mason jars because I can, one, put them in the freezer and the fridge, and then it's just easy to clean in its glass. Then I've got my strainer here over top because you want to make sure it catches all the things. I don't mind. It does have wide holes. If you don't want any of the like seasonings or spices or anything, then you can use like a fine sieve, but I don't mind this because, like I said, it imparts flavor, and you're not going to get the big chunks. You're just going to get some of the small like Italian seasonings and stuff like that, so I don't mind that. So we're just going to ever so gently. And this is still pretty hot, so like I said, just be careful. I like to do it over in the sink, just a little bit easier. And then I'll just take this out, pop that in there, and now I have this. This will make a lot of broth, so I just take my time and fill up my jars. So much for the lid.
That's from before.
And you can see already the intense color that it gives. Definitely the carrots have a part to play in that, as well as a bit of the olive oil that we had, the celery. So I just leave it just like this, and then I use it for everything. I use it to make rice, I use it to make soups and things like that. Even just, that was not the most.
That was coming. That was coming.
But
Chicken's on the move.
chicken is on the move, but that's what happens. So yeah, so I use it to make everything. If I need a little, as I'm cooking, I need a little chicken broth, then I use this, and then I just keep them in the fridge. If you're not going to use it right away, you can put it in the freezer as well. But I use mine pretty quickly after I make it, and then if I am making soup, then I don't really put it in the jars if I'm making soup with it. I'll just put it in like a big pitcher, or leave it in the bowl, and then I'll just add it when I'm ready, when I'm doing my soup. So here is exactly how I make my chicken broth for all my soups, and to have my own bone broth on hand. It's super simple and easy to use, and very easy to make. So once you start doing it, it will become second nature to you to make some broth to have on hand. And if you do like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe before you leave the channel so you never miss a new video, and don't forget to smile lots. Bye guys, have a great day.
I feel different in the camera frame.
Yeah, should I get taller? Do you want me to put shoes on?
No, because then it's too much at the top.
They're probably gonna watch my videos and go, she shrunk.